Hey, Grant Cardone here with my non-negotiable money tips. Live by these, okay, on the come up, and I promise you, you won't be on the come up forever. One day you're going to create wealth for yourself and your family. These are 15 tips that I have used over the last 45 years to create the wealth that I have. Keep in mind that I started with no money, no connections, no debt. I built a number of very successful businesses, and these 15 money tips I'm going to share with you right now is hard and cruel and like tough as they're going to feel to you. Okay. If you live by them, I promise you, you'll create wealth for yourself and your family. Okay. Number one rule, never spend more than you earn. I have been doing this since I was 25 years old. If I don't have it, I don't spend it. If I make $2,000, I don't spend more than $2,000. Never spend more than you earn, and never count it until you have it. Just because you went out and made a big sale, money's not in yet. Don't go burn that money. Don't go spend that money, and don't become obligated. Number two, if you can't write it off, do not buy it. All these rules, by the way, are for the come up. Once you create wealth and you're super rich and you've made it and you got Elon's money or Bill Gates' money or Warren Buffett's money, do whatever the hell you want. But this is for those of you on the come up. If you cannot write it off, refuse to buy it. Okay, what do I mean by a write-off? I mean, taking my wife out to dinner is not a write-off. But me taking my wife and 2 clients to dinner, yes, is a write-off. I can write off 100% of that because the goal was to build and grow my business. Taking my wife out to dinner is not a tax deduction. I would rather spend $400 and write it off than spend $200 and not be able to write it off. Number 3 rule, know exactly what your cost of living is. It is shocking to me how many people absolutely have no idea how much income they make, how much their taxes are, how much their house payment, their car payment, their electric, their water, their utilities, what they're spending on their kids, eating out, Chipotle's, Ubering. Like, you don't know. If you don't know, you can't control what you're doing, okay? So the first thing you do is got to know exactly where every single penny is going. What are your kids getting? What is your wife spending? What are you spending? What does gas cost you? Oil cost you? Tires cost you? Count it all. If you simply take the last 90 days and look through your checkbook and your credit cards and you just total all that up, that is your cost of living. Know exactly what your cost of living is so that you can start, 1, controlling that, and number 2, outgrow that. Number 4, never loan money to anyone. Ever. Listen to me, you're not a bank, you're not an ATM, you're not a credit card. Okay? You got a name. It ain't MasterCard. It is, I need to make money. I need to take care of family. I need to take care of my business. I need to get my wealth right. I need to create wealth. And then, and not even then, would you ever loan money to anyone, especially friends and family. Okay? Do not do it. I'm telling you. Don't solve their money problem. All they're going to do is suck you into their money problem. Number 5, invest only in assets that cash flow. Now, I get a lot of hate on this one because that would exclude you buying a home. Yes, you would not buy a home because the home does not cash flow. When you buy a house on a 30-year mortgage, you're the one that's cash flowing the house. The house does not cash flow you. And this is why I tell you, on the come up, invest in things that cash flow. Rather than buying a car that does not cash flow, why don't you buy a car that you could rent out to the world that would cash flow? Then I would be like, yeah, buy the car. You want to buy a Lamborghini and rent it out every weekend and then you get cash flow? Cool. You want to buy a house, 4 units that cash flows, and you want to live in one of the units for free? Cool, that cash flows. You want to live in a house that you have to feed and pay? You got to pay a mortgage, you got to pay interest, you got to pay maintenance, you got to pay property taxes, you got to pay for the broker fees? Don't do it. It doesn't cash flow. If it don't cash flow, I say no, period. End of story, okay? Number 6, never gamble with money unless you know for sure you're going to win.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Do not gamble with money. Quit gambling on the stock market. Quit gambling on NFTs. Quit gambling on cryptos. Quit going to casinos. Do not put a quarter in a jackpot machine. Oh, it's just a quarter. Look, if it's just a quarter, you'll never end up rich. Number 7, limit all discretionary spending to passive income. What that means is discretionary. I don't need it. I absolutely don't have to have this. It's not a must-have. Discretionary spending should only be done out of passive income. Passive income is not income that I traded time to get, but I made an investment in something that continues to pay me. And that is the only time I will buy the yacht trip, the watch, the bracelet, the necklace is out of passive income earned from an investment, not earned for me trading time for some income. Number 8, credit cards should be paid off every month, okay? Visa, MasterCard, and the American Express is good for one thing. It's like my little accounting, my free accounting program, okay? I bang everything with a credit card so I can track my spending. At the end of 30 days, I pay it off. Pay off your credit cards every month. Don't throw them away. Do not cut them in half like Dave told you to do. Don't get rid of your credit cards. You actually need credit cards. I'm going to bang the credit card. It makes me legitimate. I'm going to go to the restaurant, hit the credit card. I'm not going to pay with cash. You don't want to keep cash because cash is stolen, cash depreciates, cash is lost, and when you have cash, you overspend. Also, it becomes a reporting system for me. At the end of the year, I don't need to send in a bunch of receipts to the Internal Revenue Service to say this is my bills. I have my Amex, my Visa, my MasterCard to do my reporting for me. Okay? Pay your credit cards off every month. Never break that rule. Okay, number 9, lease and rent until you got the big racks. Until you're super wealthy, I'm telling you, lease it and rent it. Don't own it. Okay, you don't need to own it. Use it. Use the rental car. Okay, use everything you can with no obligation to ownership. Don't obligate yourself to a 20 or 30-year mortgage or a 7-year loan if you could simply do a 24-month lease on a piece of equipment. If you look at all the banks, Wells Fargo, they don't own any of their real estate. Bank of America, they don't own any of their real estate, okay? Most of these companies don't own, they lease. JP Morgan leases most of the property they have in New York City. So who are you to, I got to own my own building, okay? Why do you think like that? Lease and rent until you have massive wealth. And even then, you might want to lease and rent. Number 10, quit collecting stuff and start collecting assets. It's an asset game, not a bracelet game. You guys got your watches and your necklaces and all your gold and your glitter. You're collecting glitter and I'm collecting assets. I'm collecting real properties that cash flow and you're collecting bracelets that break. Okay? Get assets, don't get stuff. Also for your kids, quit buying your kids stuffy dolls and start putting trust in place for them to have real estate because they're going to outgrow their stuffy doll and their toys and their little plastics and all the BS that you buy them, and they're going to grow into the assets that went up in value, by the way, that cash flowed while you waited, that provided you and your family with depreciation so that when your kids are 15, 16, 17, and 18 years old, they don't have stuff from their childhood. They have assets. Okay? Because you made the right decisions when they were kids. Number 11, quit paying your kids allowances. Okay? That your kids do not deserve an allowance. They deserve an opportunity to work for you and then pay them. So my kids have never gotten allowances in their life. I don't even know if they know what the word allowance means. They work and we pay them. We have them on a contract. Both of our kids are on contracts. Once a year they get paid. They are then required by contract to deliver a certain number of chores and duties and work in order for that money to be valid on that contract. Nobody gets better because they get an allowance. You get better because you work. And I'm teaching my kids how to work. I'm teaching them how to control their assets. I'm teaching them how to control their capital and never use it and touch it. And I'm showing them long-term value of how money appreciates when it's invested. And they have to learn how to manage off the cash flow. Live off your passive income. Never touch your capital. Quit paying your kids allowances. Pay them to work. Okay, 15. Avoid all people that have money problems. Avoid them. Run from them like the plague. They have a problem and that problem is contagious. Their money problems will become your money problems. Let them go fix those if they can and then come back. Okay? I'm staying away from people that got money problems. If I'm a real friend of yours and I'm going through trouble right now, why would I want to bring my trouble to you? Stay away from people that have money problems. Look, money won't make you happy, but it'll pay for everything. Okay? It pays for everything, literally everything. Better health care, freedom, options, like everything you want in life, it will require a check, a credit card, some kind of exchange. If you want more money, live by these money tips, and I promise you, if you just stay disciplined on this, make this a code for you and your family, I promise you, you'll create the wealth you deserve.